Welcome to Finance Revealed. Watch the complete video to discover new market secrets. Subscribe now.
We've been predicting it, and now it's here.
Right. Well, I think the billionaires are getting ready to flee. The fiat billionaires are getting ready to flee. There are many billionaires in our group right now have billions of sat.
Do you think crypto will find its footing at these levels? And what can we kind of make of this big slump in trading volume?
Despite Bitcoin's volatility, it's still up more than 15% this year. And as some investors take profits, they're staring down some pretty big tax bills.
The incredible shrinking dollar is so obvious because of Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin is exposing and revealing the truth. And the truth is obvious to the likes of Richard Branson, who, by the way, is a very early holder of Bitcoin and accepted one of the very first companies in the world to accept Bitcoin back in like 2011 or 12. So, 2012 for Virgin Galactic. And the thing is, like, he's seen the writing on the wall. You better escape while you can.
Yeah, it's amazing that the Virgin Galactic took Bitcoin to secure places on his space shuttle, and he converted it immediately to fiat money. Didn't hold any on his balance sheet. So the people who bought those tickets when Bitcoin is a few $100s are probably regretting that choice. They talk about people wasting money on buying a toaster or a camera with Bitcoin back in 2011, 2012. Imagine putting up $250,000 or $500,000 for 2 seats back then. Would now be worth over $1 billion. And of course, they didn't keep it in their balance sheet either. So that's the way things were back in 2011. Their emphasis on payments was really strong at that time. And digital gold, as we now have come to understand more fully, was still not firmly entrenched in the mindset.
Right. It was the Winklevoss twins who bought 2 tickets aboard this. They spent, I think, 215 Bitcoin each to secure a spot. So that would be worth millions and millions and millions of dollars today. So they have plenty. But yeah, I guess I think it was via BitPay, right? That Virgin Galactic had a deal. Richard Branson was an investor.
There was no need to try to create a so-called better Bitcoin. Because the initial iteration was exactly everything that you would want in Bitcoin is right there in Bitcoin. Bitcoin Satoshi vision, has been such a problematic experience for everybody from the beginning. The people behind it have been engaged in all kinds of behavior that is completely inconsistent with the ethos of Bitcoin. The fact that it's got 0.5% of the hash rate of Bitcoin is pretty consistent, that it's completely unused, it's unusable, and it was always open to a 51% attack. And so this is going to be ongoing. Exchanges are dropping it. If you are trying to get coins onto an exchange to sell them, that's going to be a problem because exchanges don't want it. If you have coins on an exchange already and try to sell them, the liquidity is going to dry up. As I made a point before, according to my kind of surveying the situation, more than 80% of the volume is just wash sales that would be conducted by the one primary person. And so the volume there is really non-existent anyway. And that person, from what I understand, is now understanding that this is a failed project and they themselves are trying to get out. So there's, it's going to be tough to get anything sold. When it's like when Jamie Dimon got out of the MF Global. He decided, hey, I'm Jamie Dimon, I want to get my money out first, and he did, and then everyone else got nothing. So it's a similar situation.
Yeah, well, Bitcoin is relentless optimism. Bitcoin is Renaissance 2.0. Bitcoin reveals all around you. So it just reveals that these were shitcoins all the time.
Yeah, people underestimate the network, exponential functions and how things grow exponentially. And, there's some truth to the idea that there was an underestimation in terms of what the value would be as a store of value. And because it's hard to imagine, even if you understand the technology, it's hard to imagine really Bitcoin challenging the US dollar and other currencies. And, here we are with Christine Lagarde, making a fool of herself, really doubling down on trying to introduce a European digital currency. Meanwhile, the ECB, if you thought money printing in the US was crazy, whoa, boy, they're just like totally out of control. And their societies are completely falling apart as a result of it. The UK is having some similar troubles. Their solution is the same, let's print some more money, which is a big problem. But the Bitcoin, I think the point you're making there is that the incredible shrinking dollar, it's not as obvious in a world of all fiat money because there's nothing to compare it to, right? So if if you're looking at the horizon, unless you have a point of reference, it's hard to figure out distance, right? You need points of reference. So starting in 1971, there was all fiat money and there was no hard money. There was no point of reference, and they all were inflating simultaneously. And inflation was ebbing higher. They had a 2% target and they were trying to make it 2%. And, we need 2%. Meanwhile, the purchasing power of the money was actually falling, as Michael Saylor at MicroStrategy pointed out. It's actually, your purchasing power is decreasing by 15% a year. If you were to look at the world in a realistic way in terms of housing and medical costs, education, those things were all galloping ahead at 15-20% a year. But the government was saying, no, don't look at that stuff. Just look at this basket of Asian-made clothes and circuit boards from Taiwan, and that's what you need to focus on. So it was gaslighting, right? The governments were gaslighting the population, and everyone felt really poor. They were taking opiates and dying by the tens of thousands, but nobody covered it. The mainstream media is captured. Then Bitcoin comes around, and suddenly there's a reference point. And they're like, wait a minute. How come this thing went from 10 cents or 25 cents to $30, $40, $50,000 a piece? How did that happen? It's beyond any technological explanation. It has to be associated with loss of purchasing power for fiat money. It's a point of reference. So it's a big sign to the world that your paper money is becoming more worthless, has become worthless. It's a reference point. And around that single point, we have the global revolution, the global insurrection against banker occupation is rallying around this central theme, the central point, the central reference point of Bitcoin. People, if you're not already a millionaire, if you're not already a Bitcoin millionaire, you really need to hustle and start stacking Satoshis immediately, because whatever you have left is going to be debased.
Crypto options, cryptocurrency charts, cryptocurrency history, cryptocurrency definition, cryptocurrency value, crypto queen, crypto YouTubers, crypto day trading, cryptocurrency news today, cryptocurrency jargon.